the Irish Guy, and this will be a tough video for you. I get that football fans are loyal, and they don't want to have to comb through their squad with a dog's hairbrush to try and find one potentially toxic rotten apple. But lads, there's one in every squad. I know, okay? To you, this must feel like a parent-teacher meeting that you didn't want. And I'm the frustrated English teacher trying to tell you that little Fergal is actually a troublesome monster who just tried to stick a pencil in Jenny's eye. But then again, if you named your kid Fergal, then you deserve everything you get. You're lucky he hasn't turned out like something off The Exorcist. But lads, maybe these players haven't done anything yet. But I'm gonna find every Premier League club's one player who's most likely to disrupt the dressing room with a bad attitude, to be difficult for the manager, to just be a surly Paul Pogba. This will be tough for you to hear, but honestly, let me find the one player who, yeah, they might not have turned toxic yet, but the capability is there. Be warned, because right now, your toxic cheese muffin of a player is going to be exposed. And not in a Kyle Walker way. Right, let's go. Arsenal, Leandro Trossard. Okay. I know what you're thinking. Leandro Trossard has been as good as gold at Arsenal, so me already picking on the new kid and anointing him to be the toxic bad boy, oh, it's just unfair, right? I mean, it's been like going to a new school and 20 minutes through your first maths class, the teacher just makes you go and face the wall just because your lunchbox smells of moldy Weetabix. Yeah, don't blame the 5-year-old for that. Blame his alcoholic mum. Listen, Arsenal fans are probably going to think that this is bang out of order, because so far Trossard has looked bubbly, lively, even happy to patiently wait on the bench. But just watch. Behind the deceptive smiles is the inner attitude of a bratish man-child. Honestly, the clues are there. It was only 2 months ago that Brighton banished him from training over attitude problems. What were they? I don't know. Maybe he refused to participate in the drills. Maybe he chose to be a disruptive pest and just spent Tuesday morning throwing poo at Lewis Dunk. But something had him expelled from the team. Lads, I know, we all know that players have let themselves down in the past trying to force through a move. It's not uncommon. Christ above, Southampton fans still hate Adam Lallana with a burning passion after quitting for Liverpool. That transfer was messier than Stevie Wonder trying to cook a pie. And yet even he, Lallana, practically said, good riddance once Trossard left. So just watch out, Arsenal fans. This is a bit like marrying someone and then instantly regretting it when she starts strangling cats on the honeymoon. Just wait. One day, Trossard is going to snap. He is your next Aubameyang. Aston Villa, Luca Digne. Something is up with Luca Digne. As a footballer, the man is a top-class left-back, but both Rafa Benitez and Unai Emery are experienced, respected coaches, and neither are a huge fan. Clearly, Emery has about as much faith in Digne as I would an Uber driver who can't see above the steering wheel, because he just went out and bought another left-back who's also 29. While Benitez, he took over an Everton team where he wasn't even able to spend, and yet still banished a former Barcelona and PSG left back from the squad. And lads, Benitez isn't picky. He used to play Paul Dummett at left back. Right now, behind closed doors, I would not be shocked if Digne is appalled by the signing of Alex Moreno. And so yeah, it's acting like a moody diva. Like if you refuse to serve Rihanna a Costa coffee. Yeah, someone's getting a cappuccino thrown in their eye. Maybe he's losing motivation in training and bringing down the rest of the group by refusing to laugh at jokes and generally looking like someone who's just seen his mum burned in a bin. But something is up with Digne. So if I was trying to find a poisonous Villa apple, something that would cause Snow White to need her stomach pumped, then yeah, I'm going for Digne. Bournemouth, Darren Randolph. I don't want to keep picking on Darren Randolph, but this Bournemouth squad seemed to have good characters in it. If there was one wild card for one of them to do something toxic, I don't know. The third choice goalie, Darren Randolph, is nearly 40, sure, but I mean, a few years ago, he got in trouble when at West Ham, he and Andy Carroll were caught drunk in the middle of the day. And he also piped it recently complaining that he was too old to get another Ireland cap. Listen, it's not the worst attitude in the world. And I know, okay, with these examples, I'm reaching more than Warwick Davis trying to buy some dirty magazines, but I can't find anyone else. This Bournemouth squad, they're all a bunch of goody two-shoes. Brentford, Ivan Toney. Okay. Ivan Toney is a consummate professional on the pitch, yes, but how many scandals does he want to get involved in? I mean, last year he disrespected Brentford while on camera in some nightclub. Yeah, you really think Brentford fans thanked you for that? He was also pretty loose with his mouth on Twitter after Brentford beat Arsenal 2 years ago, calling it a kickabout with the lads. Arteta, he literally used that as fuel for the next time Arsenal played them. And factor in the fact that he's got a gambling scandal on top of all that, then Tony is probably one to watch. Brighton, Juan Caicedo. Look, his attitude on the pitch has always been brilliant, but But I can smell the storm coming. Honestly, I sound like Catwoman with mental cramps. Montecito fancies himself to outgrow Brighton and pretty soon. Not only was he pleading on Instagram for the club to let him move to Arsenal, but the club actually made him stay at home for a few days. He's returned to the team like a model pro, but what's it going to be like this summer if he gets refused another move? All it takes is for one monster club to again turn his head in June. And I reckon this time it won't just be polite requests on Instagram. If I was to guess, I would think this young 21-year-old man will be told by his agent to go on strike. And if he does that after less than 50 games in a Brighton shirt, oh boy. But yeah, right now, the Brighton hierarchy are probably just handling him with care. Honestly, they don't want to find any excuse to upset him. Honestly, if the lunch lady served him a burnt panini, to probably be instantly sacked on the spot. Chelsea, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Remember when Arsenal fans were warned by Borussia Dortmund that Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang had attitude problems? And then, that looked like absolute scrambled egg. For 2 or 3 years, the man was a saint, scoring goals with a Ronaldinho smile on his face. And then, those warnings finally came true. The guy was a disciplinary nightmare who nearly melted Mikel Arteta's brain. Then he keeps his head down, and once again acts like a choir boy at Barcelona for 6 months. And now at Chelsea, Graham Potter looks like he'd sooner drink dog food with a straw than let this diva on the pitch. I don't know what he's done. Maybe it's the work rate in training, attitude on the pitch, maybe he's a sulking brat who hates his teammates. But the club are literally trying to flog him to the MLS. This guy scored over 300 career goals, and yet Chelsea are the third different club have tried to dump him in just over a year. My theory is that when he's not playing, the man is a moody man-child who's got a more depressing body language than Stephen Hawking. Crystal Palace Wilfried Zaha. Wilfried Zaha is a wonderful footballer, but let's be honest, you would hate to be his teammate. If Zaha was playing for a Champions League level club, then I think his ego would actually be diluted. The man wouldn't dare chucking in a pouting body language if he was surrounded by actual world stars. I mean, back at Manchester United, the man was probably a well-behaved boy, but at Palace, the man is not just a big fish in a small pond. No, this is like Jaws living in a swimming pool. He's been a frustrated prima donna for years. He doesn't want to be finishing 12th every year. He was so desperate to leave that at one point, he was prepared to move to Everton for 70 million quid. I mean, remember a few years ago when Zaha told the media that he's sick of having to do it all by himself? I do believe this man loves Palace, yes, but he also wants to leave Palace, yes. He's sick of playing with bang average players, and so yeah, I would imagine on the training ground, he probably moans and complains more than James Corden at a vegan restaurant. Everton, Neil Maupay. Neil Maupay is Craig Bellamy. If Craig Bellamy couldn't score goals. This man strikes me as a petulant brat with an ego the size of a fridge. How many times is this man getting into trouble at Brighton? Graham Potter left him out of matchday squads because of his attitude, and yet he has the gall to go on Match of the Day and accuse Matteo Guendouzi of being arrogant. Does anybody think that Maupay is happy to be rotting on the Everton bench? I think part of him believes he's an absolute superstar. Nobody seems to have reminded him lately that he's as much a top-flight goal scorer as Mickey Mouse. Maybe I'm wrong, and he's been nothing but a choir boy at Goodison Park. Maybe. But if there is one player in that dressing room who could easily just down tools and start Chinese whispers about the manager, like that he drinks toilet water with a spoon, then yeah, I'd be guessing Neil. Fulham, Levan Kurzawa. Fair play to this Fulham squad, because their teams of old in the Premier League used to have brats pouring out of the team. I mean, remember Abubakar Kamara? After a scuffle at the training ground, didn't someone phone the police? But if there's one, Levan Kurzawa has the stink of someone who thinks he's too good for the club. He's a 30-year-old left back who's barely played, and last season was completely frozen out at PSG. I mean, in 2020, he was given a 6-match suspension for participating in a mass brawl in League 1. The fact that Marco Silva is not bending over backwards to get a former PSG left back and France international into his team leads me to believe that Kurzawa is the modern day Jose Basingua. Honestly, if Fulham were relegated this season, I wouldn't put it past Kurzawa to start laughing on the pitch. He looks like he cares for Fulham the same way Joseph Fritzl cared for his kids. Leeds Luis Sinisterra. Maybe I'm wrong, and Luis Sinisterra is the type of charming young man who your nan would love, but something about his brain dead red card against Aston Villa early doors rubbed me the wrong way. Since then, he's been injured, left out of matchday squads. Maybe it's a fitness issue. Maybe there's something physically wrong with his skeleton. Or maybe he's unprofessional to the point of eating pies and failing to work hard. I don't know. What I do know is that this big money superstar has fallen off a cliff. Leicester, Yuri Tielemans. Yuri Tielemans hasn't done anything yet, and this is just a complete guess or a hunch. I might be wrong, and this could be completely unfair, but if I was to pick a Leicester player who I thought might be a secret toxic apple, then it's him. Ever since his incredible winner in the FA Cup final, Tielemans' performances are sort of dribbled off a map. The guy's contract has always been ticking down, and to me, it looks like his brain is a distracted mess. I think he's checked out at Leicester. I just think his 75% work rate is letting himself down. Liverpool, Naby Keita. Liverpool don't really have any toxic players in the squad. No, practically zero. Jurgen Klopp is a pretty solid dressing room, but maybe Naby Keita. There's been noises that the man wants out if Klopp stays at the club, and I don't know, having that sort of negative influence poisoning the camp cannot be helpful. I'm not sure why Keita is complaining to his agent. The guy should have enough ability to dictate whether or not he gets to play. It's just his own fault that when he's fit, the guy's been complete and utter dross. Man City Kyle Walker. Man City don't have many toxic players in the squad either. I mean, João Cancelo has recently shown that he might have the inflated ego of Britney Spears, but I mean, he's gone now, so it doesn't count. Would Pep Guardiola really allow a toxic player in the dressing room? But Kyle Walker keeps winding up with the newspapers for doing really weird things, so considering this man continues to embarrass the club during their tense title races, then maybe I'll choose Walker. Man United Anthony. Okay. I know there'll be suggestions that Bruno Fernandes should be in here, but let's be real. Yes, he might look like a moany brat on the pitch, but guess what? He's got the captain's armband for a reason. Clearly he's respected in that dressing room. So is he a toxic stink undermining Erik ten Hag? No. If I made this video a few months ago, then Cristiano Ronaldo's face would be splashed in the thumbnail. But since he left, I'm gonna choose Anthony. The boy's got skill, he's got swagger, but there is a potential to be a disruptive influence who destroys the dressing room. It takes a special type of egotist to go on strike for a football club who are paying you millions of pounds a year. But that's what Anthony did last summer. The guy was just 22, had barely had 3 seasons in Holland, and he just refused to play. He didn't even turn up to training, which is a huge insult to the scouts who plucked him out of a dustbin in Brazil. The man is like a mini Neymar. Sure, he's got the skills, but half the time, he just looks like he's just been told that he's gonna be eating toenail pudding for tea. The man is arrogant, fails to work hard off the ball. He is a player you need to walk on eggshells around, or he literally refused to play. I'm sorry, but if I was a Manchester United fan, I would be nervous to have him in the squad. Honestly, I feel like I'm warning someone off dating Chris Brown, but just be careful with Anthony. Newcastle Ryan Fraser. Lads, this isn't a guess. Right now, Eddie Howe is practically almost confirmed that Ryan Fraser's attitude is about as reliable as a pie filled with spider legs. It's incredible how a man can flip his own reputation on his head. Up until 2019, Fraser looked like the model pro. A self-made, reliable winger who dragged himself off the Aberdeen bench and League One poverty into the Premier League with Bournemouth. And not only did he not look out of his depth, but in his final full season, he finished second in the assist charts to Eden Hazard. Yeah, clearly both players then decided to reward themselves with a lifetime supply of cheeseburgers. But it's not just the fact that he looks like if Tyrion Lannister discovered McDonald's. No, it's the fact that this is the man who chose not to participate in Bournemouth's relegation battle so he wouldn't injure himself out of a big money move, helplessly watching his team get relegated by a point. When the previous season he was putting up Eden Hazard numbers, it's the height of selfishness. Bournemouth are the club who made you. They're the reason you live in a swanky mansion. Instead of having to share a bedsit with your nan, watching them go down. It's the equivalent of watching your mum sink in quicksand whilst you just read a Max magazine. And now at Newcastle, Howe has expelled him from the Newcastle squad, saying he only wants players committed to the club. Fraser doesn't look like a selfish diva, but I mean, neither did the one played by Kelsey Grammer. Looks can be deceiving. Nottingham Forest Willy Bolly. Where do you want to start? I rate Steve Cooper very high. Not least because he's having to knit together the most toxic dressing room in the Premier League. Aussie Forest squad stinks of the old days of QPR. Most teams only have 1 or 2 potential toxic grenades in the camp. But Forest, I could pick Dean Henderson, Serge Aurier, Jesse Lingard, even the likes of John Joe Shelby and Wayne Hennessy are capable of bringing the club into disrepute. I mean, especially if the last guy starts talking about what he didn't learn in history. But I think the worst is Willy Bolly. Earlier this season, the Wolves centre-back was included in the matchday squad to face Newcastle, and he said, nah, lads, I feel bad for Bruno Lage. The guy was forced to let Connor Cody leave on loan, and now he had a 31-year-old centre-half supposed leader just downing tools like a petulant kid. To what? Just forced to remove to Nottingham Forest? This man ended last season playing every minute of Wolves' final 9 league games. Yeah, this season he's played just 8 times in the league and rotted on the bench 12 times. It's down to Ainsley Maitland-Niles. I don't think Ainsley Maitland-Niles is the worst person in the world. Absolutely not. The man has somehow salvaged a career, despite his mum having had to be banned from the Arsenal training ground. That's more embarrassing than being exposed for being physically attracted to naked sheep. Maitland-Niles isn't that bad. The guy was on Instagram begging to leave the Gunners and go somewhere where he was actually wanted. I don't know. Maitland-Niles isn't awful, but maybe if I was a Southampton PR manager, maybe find a way of hacking into his phone? Tottenham Richarlison. This is pretty simple. Richarlison is an egotistical brat with the awareness of cottage cheese. Tottenham were dumped out of the Champions League, and in the post-match interview chooses to make it all about himself, wondering why he wasn't in the starting 11. And maybe because you've forgotten how to score? The man looks like a moody oik on the pitch. Part of me thinks that behind closed doors, the guy is just throwing boots around the changing room, moaning at his players in training, and I wouldn't put it past this guy to angle a move to a bigger club. I just don't think that Richarlison's attitude, or half the time he looks like he's chewing on a beehive, does that really contribute to a harmonious squad atmosphere? He's had 5 seasons in the Premier League. He was the main man at both Watford and big money Everton, and finished 14th, 8th, 12th, 10th and 16th. I'm going to say no. West Ham Kurt Zouma. He kicks cats. Next, Wolves Diego Costa. Diego Costa is a battler, yes, but I don't forget the poisonous attitude. Does nobody remember when this man, in the form of his life at Chelsea, wanted to quit mid-season to go and sell out for a bunch of cash in China? He subsequently fell out with Antonio Conte, was spotted having midnight secret dinners with Diego Simeone, and surprise, surprise, was soon kicked back to Atletico Madrid. I just remember towards the end of his Chelsea spell, this man was trouble. Christ, now I sound like Taylor Swift. Anyway, let me know what do you think. Let me know. Who is your toxic player at your club? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, as always. I'll talk to you in a while.